Welcome back to the Yaffee program. We are here on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN, 9 to 11 AM, Monday through Friday. Still taking a poll here on our Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. Who are you voting for tomorrow? We got governor. I'm sure most of you are going to go with Tuberville. But Lieutenant Governor John Wall versus Wes Allen. State Auditor Andrew Sorrell versus Derek Chen. U.S. Senate Barry Moore versus Jared Hudson versus, of course, Steve Marshall. Who are you voting for? Other elections as well. State election here locally. Tell me what you think. Obviously, the Trump endorsement, I can tell on the text line already, the Trump endorsement makes a big difference. But I'd like to get your take on any of those races who you're going to vote for. 866-494-9866. Talking more about that right now is Todd Stacy. He is the host of Alabama Public Television's Capital Journal, also with Alabama Daily News, which you can read easily, aldailynews.com. Todd, I'm sure you're pretty busy this week, but how you doing?
Yeah, this is our big week. Of course, on Election Day, it's actually kind of an old campaign joke that there's not a whole lot to do on Election Day. You get your campaign done. And then I guess you could get out on a street corner and wave signs or something like that. But whenever I had candidates tell them to go to the movies, go to the movies and get out of the headspace. Don't be worrying about it all day because you just, drive yourself crazy thinking about, all day on Election Day. But yeah, this is a big one. I hope people are going to go vote. I do have a little bit of a concern about turnout being low just because all the confusion and different districts and different election dates and everything. So I hope that's not going to be too bad, but I am a little concerned about that.
It's interesting. When I thought of low turnout, I didn't really think of the confusion. It just seems like the energy isn't there. Like you do poll after poll, and you guys are doing great at polls. There's so many undecideds, it seems like in every poll.
Absolutely. And that's going to be the big question this time around. I mean, we did some polling, I guess about 2 weeks ago, and I've seen other polls out there. And yeah, the undecideds have remained for most races either in the high 40s or even a majority, right? Really only the race for governor is everybody decided, and that's just because that one's kind of over. But and I think that's another thing is that normally in a state election like this is, the big pull is the governor, right? There's usually a pretty big race for governor, especially if it's an open seat. I mean, the fact that it's an open seat and this race was over before it began, that just doesn't really drive people to the polls. If there was a big race for governor, then I think you might see a lot more people excited, a lot more people want to get out. But this is going to impact these elections because, like I said, if that turnout is low because of the governor race and because of these other congressional races, like, should I go out and vote if my vote doesn't count? There's a lot of stuff going around about that. Well, when that electorate gets shrunk so much, that universe of voters gets shrunk, then you really have to be, as a campaign, really on point in terms of which voters are you getting out. And, it just makes every little precinct and every county matter that much more because the percentages are so much lower and the margin for error becomes so much lower. So a low turnout election, I think maybe I'll be surprised, but I don't think it's going to be nearly on par with 2022. Or even some of the other previous elections.
So what do you think about the Trump endorsement factor? Because, he's weighed in on a couple. He endorsed John Wall, also endorsed Barry Moore. It seems like it has helped Moore in his election, but still a lot of undecideds. In the latest poll, you had John Wall down in that election. So any interpretation from that?
Well, the Trump endorsement, it's not going to hurt you. It's going to help you a little bit, but it kind of matters what you do with it. It doesn't matter if Trump has endorsed you if nobody knows that, right? So John Wall's biggest challenge has been to get that word out, and he doesn't have the same kind of money that
Barry Moore
Barry
does,
Moore
yeah.
has, or that Club for Growth has been throwing in. And so he's basically had to do a lot of this advertising on his own, which he's done. I mean, I've seen it. He has these ads saying, Trump's for me, good ads, but he doesn't have the kind of money that a Barry Moore does to really get that message out there. So, so there's that. You get people. You've got to spend a lot of money telling people that that's what's going on. But then again, people, in some of the polling that we did, people can kind of take it or leave it. I mean, it's certainly not like a bad thing amongst Republicans. There's a handful, that are anti-Trump, but not that many. But, they're just saying, well, sure, I'll take that into consideration, but my vote is not defined by just who Donald Trump supports. It's kind of like, how many ads have you seen on the Republican side this time that have not included some kind of nod to Donald Trump? So I think part of it is, if there was a race in which there was truly like somebody that was anti-Trump, then that would be a big deal. But I think the record pretty much shows that everybody running on the Republican ticket in Alabama this time is pretty supportive of the president.
So you think that's what separates these elections, say, to what happened in Louisiana over the weekend, where Senator
Sure.
Bill Cassidy was thrown out? It's not so much that the other person had the Trump endorsement, it's that Bill Cassidy ended up being very anti-Trump.
Well, and Trump personally came after him, and Trump, made a vendetta against Cassidy. I mean, look, he voted for impeachment. I mean, of course that happened. And so, yeah, when it's a concerted effort to do that, that's a lot different than, all love to John Wall, but like Trump's endorsement of John Wall is pretty random, right? It's not like, it's not like Barry Moore, where Barry Moore has been, in line with Trump since before Trump was Trump, right? I mean, he's been on that train from the very beginning, and so that was a little less surprising, but it's just kind of random, and that's different than, say, a long-standing relationship, one that people kind of naturally get, and it matters what the president's willing to do. I mean, it's not like he's been out here going after Wes Allen or going after Rick Pate, or even in the Senate race, going after Steve Marshall or going after Jared Hudson. So there's a difference between just kind of getting the endorsement and the president putting his back into it.
Speaking with Todd Stacy, he's with Alabama Daily News. So which races do you think go to a runoff? Any thoughts on that?
Well, most of them. I don't expect Secretary of State to. That's Caroline Dobson. I don't expect, obviously, the governor to. The rest of them, we'll see about Derek Chin and Andrew Sorrell, because there's also Josh Pendergrass in that race. The polling is so nebulous on that, because it's just, low name ID. But certainly the Attorney General is going to a runoff. What's fascinating about that is who gets in. I think the convention of wisdom all along has been Catherine Robertson, Jay Mitchell, but some recent polling has Pamela Casey really statistically tied with Jay Mitchell.
Yeah.
So there's absolutely the possibility that she sneaks into that runoff, and then it's a whole different ballgame. For Lieutenant Governor, I fully expect it to be John Wall and Wes Allen. So we'll get another round of this. And let me say, Wes Allen's been a good candidate in terms of, it would have been easy to pack it up when you didn't get the Trump endorsement and your opponent does, but he's done really well to get past that. But I do expect them to be in a runoff. And so, yeah, I mean, those are the big races.
The Senate race,
I don't see how. I'm so sorry. Say again.
The U.S. Senate race probably goes to a runoff.
Oh yeah, right. Yep. Of course. How could I forget the U.S. Senate race? Well, and it kind of goes to your point about a sleepy affair. I mean, think about the last time. Think about Katie Britt, Mo Brooks, and
Mike Durant.
Mike Durant. I mean, that was a combustible. That was a fiery primary. This one it really hasn't been. So yes, I do expect a runoff there. But again, who knows who's going to get in? I think Barry Moore's pretty. We can bet on that pretty good. But in the polling we had, when you took leaners into account, like who you leaning toward, Jared Hudson and Steve Marshall were neck and neck, and so, or actually, I mean, they were tied. They were absolutely tied. And so I could see either one of those two getting in the runoff. The one X factor to me is in the last 2 weeks dealing with the congressional maps and all these Supreme Court cases and all that. Steve Marshall has gotten a considerable amount of earned media, specifically on television, and you just can't. There's nothing like that. You can't buy it. Obviously, it's earned, and so if that plays into account at all, that could give him something of a bump.
Speaking with Todd Stacy, he's with Alabama Daily News, Alabama Public Television's Capital Journal. Anything coming up on Capital Journal this week you want to highlight?
Well, we won't have our show until Friday. You can go back and watch last week's show. That was very good. But I'll be on air tomorrow night in the Birmingham area on WBRC Fox 6 for their election night coverage, which is unique in the state because they don't have to go to national coverage at all. So join us on WBRC.
All right, there you go, Todd. Really appreciate you coming on. As always, we'll talk to you again next week. We'll talk about the results, I'm sure.
Sounds good.
All right, there you go. If you want to react, by the way, we still have our poll going on, the Yaffee text poll on who you're going to vote for. Let me know, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. The text line brought to you by RegenesisStemCell.com. Maybe you got in a car accident a couple years ago or something, and you think at the time, it's just whiplash, it'll go away, but you just have this lingering pain from it. And nothing seems to work. It's not serious enough where you want to have surgery, but you don't want to have to keep taking pain pills or something like that. But you would like to get that pain relief. Well, they can help you out at Regenesis Stem Cell Center. So make an appointment today with Dr. Charles Lee. They can do for you what they did for me. They helped my back pain. They can help your pain as well using your own body's adult stem cells. And, of course, they invest in the top equipment. And the team there is just fantastic. They really keep up with you. They really know what they're doing. That's why they are the specialists when it comes to stem cell therapy. So go to RegenesisStemCell.com right now. Make an appointment. Get relief for that pain. When you do, let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. All right, it's Monday, so you know what we do. The Sunday News Show's recap, and we'll start that next on the Yaffee program.
It's the Yaffee program on WVNN.
Jim Rome takes on sports.
Listen, it is not too late to stop this. Do not do this. Leave it alone. Don't touch it. It's damn near perfect. It's beautiful as it is. Stop trying to fix what ain't broke. And stop telling me that the tournament isn't the tournament unless the 15th place team in the SEC gets in. Stop jerking with the best event in all of sports, you pigs.
The Jim Rome Show podcast.
What's your beef?
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
The Hammer Alley Podcast, an 80s flashback mockumentary.
Back in the 80s, there were 1,000 bands trying to make it in the world of rock, but there was one band that had it all, Hammer Alley.
Whatever happened to Hammer Alley?
How did they go from top of the rock?
I'm looking for a music video. They're a band from 1987, Hammer Alley. Ever heard of them?
To rock bottom.
Dude, I was born in 1987.
Oh.
I can't believe he's doing this.
Hammer Alley.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.